Module 1, Unit 2, using a workstation. So in this unit, our goal is to learn and be able to set up a computer system with regard for safety and healthy working practices. And then our goal is also learn and perhaps improve more on navigating an operating system and use input devices effectively. So, setting up a personal computer. Guys, let me ask you first. Sino ba rito ang hindi pa nakapag-set up ng computer? Maybe each one, everyone has already been able to set up a personal computer. And we all know how to do it, di ba? Basically, we open the box and then set up the monitor and then plug the cables. That's it. So, of course, let's discuss it and let's do it in a more organized way. No. So what we do is we check the contents. We had to verify everything is in there, and we also have to read the instructions. This is very important, and sometimes we take it for granted. And then checking the contents is that kompleto ba to? Nandun ba lahat ng kailangan natin? Or even those that we ordered, nandun ba lahat? And then we had to read the instructions, especially if you have ordered this from another country. Because sa Philippines, for example, ang power dyan is 220. And in US, it's 110. So, I've been into a lot of mistakes like that. And sometimes, pag we do this more often, we always take it for granted. Even me. So, we have to read instructions. If it is the same unit, of course, you know already what's inside. But from scratch, it's important. Even it doesn't have to be detailed. Just read instructions. Lalo yung mga important from power or from handling. And then, when you set up a computer, we take for granted yung mga hazards. Yung trip hazards. For example, yung sa power system, we share the same, what tawag dyan is, ang tawag natin usually is, what do you call it? Extension. Sa US kasi we call it drop cord. But trip hazard is that when you share too much devices on the same extension cord or the same drop cords, dangerous na yon. It could cause an electrical spikes or electrical fault na not only will damage the equipment but also for your safety. And then another thing to consider is the airflow. Airflow, guys, these computers, these are electronics, these are powered by electricity. It also dissipates heats. And especially yung mga LEDs or monitors na, di ba, lalo na back in the day, yung mga tubes, mga CRTs, it emits heat. Kung masasense nyo sa likod niyan, mainit yan. So even LCDs, medyo mas lesser ang heat dissipation, but there should be an airflow still. It's a good practice. And then the usability, yung how you conveniently position the keyboards and the mouse, all the devices, including mga printers. You need to be on the right position. And then when you connect the device, you need to be aware about the interfaces. You need to be aware saan located. Sometimes pag nagmamadali tayo, even me, we just plug it without looking. If you know the device already, if it's been with you for many times, yes. So when you set up a personal computer, you connect the peripherals properly as well, and then you connect the power cables properly. And then you position the cable just like this in example. No, meron mga monitor kasi may stand dyan sa likod, and there's a hole that you can actually insert the cable. Most of the times, even me, pag lalo na if you're tinatamad or not in the mood, we just plug the cable and gumagana. That's fine. But to be more organized is this. It is a recommended practice, and it's a good behavior. It's a good thing to do every day. Organized and neat, and of course safety as well. And then saka mo lang i-on ang device, ang computer. You have to be sure. Yung mga power switches ngayon, it's not, sometimes it's touch only, slightly. Or sometimes, it's hard to find. It's either on the bottom, on the side, lalo sa monitor. And there's so many buttons. And sometimes there are monitors na talagang tatlong button lang. Sometimes isa lang. So basically, you have to identify the power before you power on everything. You have to make sure na somehow this is the practice or this is the routine that you always do. Now, meron din tinatawag na ergonomic concepts is discussed from the previous unit. When we say ergonomics concepts is the proper setup of keyboard and mouse positioning. Sometimes we take it for granted na yung position ng keyboard is way too close to the edge na hangin yung kamay natin. And maybe we don't feel anything yet or we're so comfortable with that. So that's fine. But when you are setting up a keyboard, it should be in the proper position. Aside from the shape of itself. Tingnan nyo dito sa diagram na to, merong keyboard na wireless aside from the keyboard on the laptop itself, because probably he's just like anyone else, he works from home, he spent a lot of time in front of a computer with a keyboard, so it's more convenient na yung keyboard mo is on top of your desk, not really hanging tulad nito na you won't last a day, or maybe magmamanid na yung mga braso mo every now and then. So it's also important when it comes to sitting position. And then of course the monitor placement. Merong positioning dyan yung the right eye level ng monitor. It should be eye level. Meron pang talagang merong specifications, meron pang height requirements. But not all people are sitting on the same height. We have the same people, the same chair, no? So what's important is that it's eye level. That's what's important. And then your monitor positioning, it should be safe, secure, properly mounted. Now, another thing when using a workstation is how do we improve yung when you see I'm jumping topics now. So let's say let's go to navigating an OS. So when you say navigating an OS, as we all know, OS stands for operating system, diba? It could be Windows, Linux, any software that runs on your computer that launch your applications. A reminder ng what an OS, diba? But when you are navigating an OS, these are the things what we do. Sign in to the computer, launching software applications, managing data files, and then configuring the system. Now, when we navigate an OS, ito yung pag-uusapan natin. I just remember, no, when you use a computer, when you power it on, sometimes there's no option to sign in unless you configure it or enable it. Nowadays, it's a common thing because anybody can use computer, and then before, takot tumawag ng computer kasi. So, launching software applications, this we will discuss in detail, and then managing data files, and then configuring the system. Configuring when we say, when trying to, let's say, for example, add a peripheral device. Yung managing data files, ito yung not only copy and paste, but also storage then. Now, when we sign in to the Windows, ito yung una natin nakikita. Diba? It's your name, or if you are connected to the domain and the company name, ito makikita. Sometimes it's just your name. And then the password is, of course, encrypted. And there's an option na you can actually display as you type in. Because a common mistake dyan, di ba, it's either na capital o hindi, o kaya pag may numbers yung password mo, naka-disable yung numlock. I know that because it happens to me most of the times. And nowadays, when you sign in, you have the options either with numpad or a password, even facial recognition. So when you sign into the Windows, it started when you power on the computer. Ano ginagawa niyan? Mayroon tinatawag na post or power on self-test. Ito yung self-diagnostics ng computer pag nagbo-boot up. And then, kailangan ng ID and then authentication. The ID is the username and the authentication is the password. Ito yung tinatawag na credentials. Depending on, lalo na sa business level, merong organizational credentials or function credentials. And then, lock screen. You can, when you leave the station or when you're starting to use, always make it a practice, naka-lock on screen. It's not that we don't trust the people we work with. Before it's not even mandatory, but nowadays, just for security measures, and lalo na pag company regulations, you lock the screen. And then, merong multiple user. Pag ikaw lang user, automatic yan ng name, no? Name mo. And then sometimes, when you press this any keyboard, yung last person who uses it, yun na naka-display na name dyan. And there are also cases na hindi lang ikaw ang gumagamit ng computer. Even at home, your family, any family members, you would see down here may ibang users that could also log in or sign in. So all you have to do is select, point at it, or arrow down, arrow up, and it could also display more other users. Anybody's using the computer can be displayed here, and enter a password, of course. Now, using the desktop and taskbar, itong screen na to is for latest Windows version, Windows 10 na to. So makikita nyo, when you press this button, this flag, we call this flag. This is actually a Microsoft logo, Microsoft symbol. When you press that, or sa keyboard, built-in na nga rin ito eh. And you will see, nandun na yung mga shortcuts, mga desktop shortcuts from email, all the applications that you have the computer, even the recommended ones. Before, it's different. So this is how it is. So when you using a desktop, marami na shortcuts, may mga nakapin, and then nandito yung mga quick access. So, ang tawag dito, this is what we call the taskbar. Nandiyan yung start, ito yung Windows button, and then we also call the flag button, and then yung mga nakapin na applications, and then mga notifications. Ito yung notifications like merong bagong release, or pag may ibang, depende ko anong open na apps, like for example yung marketplace, so may mga notification dyan, may mga updates o bagong release, yun ang it's if your notification is enabled, merong nagfa-flag sa'yo dyan. So this is also what we call the start screen, the start screen or the start menu, the menu, parang sa food menu. This is the application menu where all the applications installed and recommended applications are being displayed. Now, using the start screen, basically all of you are already familiar with this. So Windows 10, ito yung pinaka main interface. This actually very typical na. You all know, pag press yung button, may mga shortcuts dito, di ba? Nandiyan yung start key, and then sa mga mobile phones, meron na rin. May mga start button na rin. And then it is also tiled. Literally, it's tiled. Yan ang arrangement niyan. Before, it's just like an icon. Yun ang display niyan. Nga, it is tiled either from the main menu or from sub-menus. And then, itong mga naka-tiles na ito yung mga apps na tinatawag. Ito yung mga applications. And then, meron din instant search. Ito si Cortana to eh. And then, when you press the button instant search, like for example, sa dami ng application na naka-install sa computers, sometimes, it's hard to find. Naliligaw na. Even me, no? Asan ba yun? Saan ko ba nilagay yun? And then, it takes time as well. So, use the instant search. Just type in the name, like Word, or before you even finish it, Excel, yun ang una magdi-display dyan. And then, yun ang default screen. But this time, meron din tinatawag na customizing the start screen and taskbar. These are actually, when you say customizing, you adjust the arrangement, you manage the display as you press the start screen. Ito yung, we organize it in a way na you don't have to search. Na automatic, when you use it, nasa harap mo na kagad. So meron tinatawag na you have to pin the apps, and then grouping in tiles. You can just press and hold, then move it around. No, and then the start screen and taskbar settings. All you have to do, right click on the taskbar, and these taskbar settings will come out. And then nandyan, it's very straightforward what to do. All you have to do is toggle this to switch on, to switch off. Kung anong gusto mong naka-display or naka-enable on your home screen. Ito yung tinatawag na personalization. That's why ikaw lang ang merong ganitong arrangement when you log in. Pag merong ibang user that uses the same computer, it's either meron siyang default, ang normal kasi yung default settings o organization ng start screen, or if you have made already an adjustment, if you have made some personalization already. Now, using a mouse or touchpad, we all know this. We've been doing this every day. So, merong touchpad, and then merong buttons then. This is also like a mouse. The only difference is that you scroll your finger on top of this, and then you have to push this button to select or right click. Nowadays, wala nang ibang laptop, wala nang button, wala nang separate button. Everything is a touchpad. So multiple scroll, multiple scrolling. Either you use one finger at a time or two fingers to scroll up, and then instead of pressing the button, just double tap. So this is what we use, diba? Instead of a mouse, for selecting, opening an icons, for selecting a menu, and then for shortcuts, for creating shortcuts, drag and drop files, for navigating. These are the things, everything that you can do from the mouse, even scrolling. Now, using a keyboard, as we all know, may mga keyboard tayo na USB connected, o kaya even USB, wireless din yun, infrared, and then or wired USB. Before kasi, ang mouse and keyboard, separate pa ang connection yan, yung mga tinatawag na PS2 connections. But to navigate a computer using a keyboard, maraming buttons dyan. Let me ask you this. How many of you are using the function keys? That's a good question, di ba? Maraming mga shortcut dyan, and then yung function keys in combination with shift or control keys or Windows key, may makikita nyo na hindi lang F1, F2, meron mga email, may mga home button, may mga adjustment ng volume, makikita nyo dyan. So, it's a good practice na we use that. Because sometimes if you are busy with other applications, and then lalo na pag may kasamang video, it takes time or to adjust the volume or the sound, and then madidistract ka. So sa keys, pag nandyan na, automatic, no, para ka lang nag-ooperate ng what do you call this, a video player. So hindi ka madidistract, focus ka pa rin. So basically, di ba, keyboard is where we type. We all know that already. And then, in layout, sino ba sa atin dito yung you can type without looking. Guys, ako, nag-aaral ako ng typing. May software na yan, libre lang yan. It's cool, no? Na you type na without looking, no? Titingin ka sa monitor, then tingin ka sa keyboard, o kaya asan ba yung letter I? Parang ganun ba? O kaya asan yung plus? So, just for the sake of discussions, not everyone else is 100% aware. Even the most speed typer, minsan naliligaw din kung nasan yung keys. Even the keys that we use every day. So may mga ito yung sinasabi ko na may mga combinations. na mga special keys. Like for example, you can do to create a shortcut keys to lock. Paano ba tayo mag-lock? Marang iba ginagawa, you press the start button and then you lock, di ba? O kaya alt control delete, select lock. O kaya yung flag, yung Windows logo, Windows key, and then L, that's to lock the screen. Paborito ko yan. That's the fastest way to lock it. And then when you're doing your project using Word, spreadsheet, PowerPoint, may mga we all know when we copy and paste or cut, 'di ba? Control, yung control button beside the Windows key, meron pang alt button, ALT o kaya control button for copying, paste and delete, 'di ba? Control C, control D, control X, marami yan. And you can Google on all of that. And then we seldom use tab and arrow keys. It depends on the applications. Sa game, minsan ginagamit yan, o kaya sa spreadsheet, you also use that. And sa Windows, we call enter. Sometimes, lalo sa Apple, return. That is the same thing. The first time I encountered an Apple computer, return. Hindi ko mahanap yung enter. Pero may malaking button yung return. So, this could be it. Now, using a touchscreen, mas magagaling kayo rito. You all know how to use this, di ba? Maraming ang tricks dito na I learned from my kids how to use it. Excuse me. So, swiping, tap and hold, just like the mouse, you know that very well. And the touchscreen, minsan may distinction yung touchscreen using a computer and touchscreen sa mga tablets and smartphones. And sometimes it varies depending kung Apple yan or Samsung. So when you swipe, di ba, particular edge, these are the things that you can do. Lalo na pag Windows. Oh, you know this better. And then when using a workstation, we recognize desktop icons. Ito yung mga shortcut makikita nyo sa default screen. Na every application, they have their own icon. Ito yung symbol sa madalit salita. When we say W, that stands for Word. Sa mga applications, for Excel, ano yun? Letter X, di ba? PowerPoint. Those are the common applications. And you will see. And it's, of course, it explains a lot na itong icons comes in different representations. Ito, for example, it's an optical device, it's a drive, and then ito, storage drive or a printer. Meron pang ang symbol kung offline or online. So, as a file, it's a shortcut, and then as a folder as well, meron ding icon yan, and then as an application. So, in file, it's the file itself. Like for example, your resume file, you can also create a shortcut for that as an icon. Or the word itself, when you open it blank or open a new document, it's also represented by an icon. And the device, as I've said earlier, those are the icons. Now, working with Windows, what do you know? What do you notice about this screen? This is the Explorer. Diba? Before it's called File Explorer. This one is Windows Explorer because this is the window of your computer to see asan yung hard drive, the status of the hard drive, or the folders that you have on your computer. And there's even properties that can be displayed from here that could tell you the size. As you, for example, on this display, pag nakaselect yung local disk, it will tell you the size and then the filing system. Meron pang ang BitLocker status. This is the advanced one. Mga encrypted hard drive yan. So, let's try to identify what is this one. This is the menu bar, di ba? Ito yung control for the browser for minimizing, maximizing, or exiting an application. Ito yung quick access. Ito yung kasing common folder or location that you access na by default, downloads and documents, or you can add more. Yung tinatawag na yung pinipin. So you can also right click on this and pin on quick access. And then from my computer to this PC, when you click on this, ito ang display. and then these are the files and folders. And if you click an icon on this at this pane, it tells you the details and properties of it. So this is Explorer kung tawagin. We just need to be aware of the word of we use. And I don't know, I mean, sometimes people, there are different words, but these are all Explorer. File Explorer, Computer Explorer, Window Explorer, they're all the same. So in this unit, now it is recommended now try to practice to set up the computer. Set up in a computer in a sense, as we discussed, you from opening the box to put all the devices in your desk or in your laptop, and then the procedures that we discussed about it, and then navigating the operating system, especially the Windows. If you have an Apple at home or a Google Chrome laptop, you can still navigate all those interfaces. So this is a common practice. We use it every day. You've been practicing, you've been doing this exercise every day. So for this unit, these are the activities recommended for you. Now, in this unit, we reviewed about setting up a computer, setting up a computer in a sense na we need to be aware about safety and healthy. Safety, ito yung mga regulations that comes with the manual, and then healthy in a sense, the idea of keeping in mind the ergonomics of setting up a computer. And then we somehow discuss some of the details about navigating an OS, using input devices effectively, where you can find there's so many keyboard strokes that you it's very effective, guys, when you use those keyboard strokes. That it's more effective and productive as well when you learn of those the things that you need, just like I've explained when you're watching a video or working on something, diba? So in this unit, I hope this has been informative to you. See you on the next slide or next unit. Thank you.